looks like I am live, but I don't see my video. I am. Excellent. Good morning, everybody. I am here, unfortunately, alone today, so I might be fumbling through things a little bit. But hey, how are you? I am happy to be here on what a beautiful day, right? It is just gorgeous outside. A little bit more relaxed. Last week, that lovely cup of coffee that I had, boom, all over my white lab coat. So I didn't get it washed this week. I do have a tie dye one that I could put on for everybody, but we always wear tie dyes on Fridays. Let your brightness shine, people. That's what I say. Every Friday we put a tie dye on. It's a great way to save a little bit of money. We give discounts for people who wear them. But just want to welcome you. I'm going to try to get this chat going and everything. I always, I love this Bible app, again, the YouVersion app. And today, the verse of the day, which is really interesting, how it says, but the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. That is straight from Proverbs 18:21. Life or death, what we speak. Think about that. We could easily go to biblical perspective on things and say, hey, what are you speaking out of your life? Or, hey, I want that mountain to move. Tell it to move. Let's get this stuff out of my life, right? Um, all things are possible for those who believe. What do I believe? There's so many directions to take everything. I do want to mention, though, I am taking a break. And so I see Diana's on. Good morning, Diana. Good morning, Marty. And Annie didn't make it today. I was kind of concerned because I was waiting to see if she was going to make it. And I kept texting her this morning. And I'm just like, hey, do you want to go out for lunch afterwards? We're going to take a break from the show for a while. I don't know how long. But if you notice in the chat, there is a link. Go here to know about future links. And it's going to be on Doc Misak website, docmisak.com, docmisak.com. If you want to know when I'm doing shows or what platform I'm using or whatever it may be, you need to get on my email list. We have had problems where, unfortunately, YouTube seems to go down in our subscribers. Don't know why, because our monthly reports say it's going up 50 to 100 new subscribers, but I guess people are just unsubscribing to me. Must be. I don't know. Other than that, whenever we go on and do shows, we're finding that people who are subscribed aren't getting notifications. Number 3 is we have no way to notify you. It's not, as a social platform, YouTube does not allow me to have your email or send out a note and say, guess what? We're going live. We have done that through Facebook and just kind of made notes. But what we're going to do is we are asking you to turn around and just sign up, people. There's a platform, that link that's on that I included, and I can paste the link pretty much as we go through the chat, and say, hey, let me go down here. But you see, if I go into this, I just get sidetracked. But there's the link again, and so that link basically and be able to join us, for future shows, to turn around and say, hey, when's Doc going on? What's he doing? What's he teaching? What information's out there? And so what I need to do is collect some email addresses, people, and give me a way to get in contact with you, and I will notify you. If you have people who have watched these shows, the reason that we're titling this show is to learn more shows. To come to this one is because we want you to be able to link up with us. And so just to kind of do it, I'm going to take the summer off. It's getting too nice on Saturdays for me to give up every Saturday, people, to come in here. I hate to say it that way, but it is, I love the weekends. I love to be able to get outside. I love to be able to do things, get out in the woods, go motorcycle riding, just do things that just get me out and clear my mind. working on an old car. I got a 1966 Oldsmobile Toronado. 1966 Toronado. How many of you know what that looks like? And so got an old Toronado. It was my father's. Got it running and just now trying to work on it. My 14-year-old is excited. It's like, hey, let's do this. I'm like, great. Let me teach you how to do body work. Let me teach you how to do. We're going to put spark plugs in today. Kids like, what do the spark plugs do? I'm like, well, what they do is they do an exact amount of electrical spark to cause a violent explosion that causes these synchronized explosions go boom, 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 boom. And his eyes just lit up like, wow, that's awesome. You know, I'm like, let's have you ever looked at an internal combustion engine? Like, yeah. I'm like, well, then you need to know what spark plugs are. So we're going to go and just kind of change some things today and clean that car up a little bit more and just get it more street worthy. It's kind of it's an incredible car. A lot of memories just from going back when I was a child, driving around in that car with my father. And I hate the way that I had to get it, but I got it. And so and now, you know, what do you look at? Hey, is this an investment opportunity? Get this car running. You know, hey, I could sell it on the used car as collector's car series and turn a little profit. And immediately my kids are like, no, that's an heirloom. That's got to go down to us, to our kids. I'm like, oh, whatever. Right? Isn't that how it works? All right. So what do we have here? Let's not put our emails in the chat here. Let's put our emails on that link that I just included. Go to that link that is on docmisak.com and go to that link and grab that and email it or sign up. Basically, it's a sign up page. You click the link and you can turn around and put your name and email in there, and then you'll get notifications. If I'm going to do something, I don't care if it's my next goal is to start doing short videos, 10, 15 minutes, if that, bringing these concepts down to, hey, let me show you how to do this. Hey, let's talk about this. Let's just short little inserts that you can turn around and watch or listen to that will give you the information down to the core of what you need to do to make this practical in your life. How can I apply RBTI to a lifestyle, you know? But more importantly, looking at this whole lifestyle of what we're talking about, because RBTI is a system of analytical measurements. Like, where am I, right? Looking at the blood behind me, that's a system of analytical measurement, right? Let me look at the blood. What's in the blood? What is the blood happening? And if it's happening in my blood, then it must be happening in my body. So what explains the processes that cause it to happen in my body, right? And so, you know, there's people who just do live and dried blood and they turn around and they focus in on, hey, you're not digesting. Look at this, you know, let's clean this up. Let's do a diet that, you know, minimizes these proteins and maximizes enzymes. And let me give you digestive enzymes and give you stuff. But RBTI isn't about giving you stuff. RBTI is about learning to eat for you. How do I identify a pattern that I'm eating stuff that just my body says, heck no, right? And so we that's what we want you to do, is learn to look at those numbers, to recognize when I'm eating a food allergen, to recognize how to go through the process of understanding your patterns, to go through and see what's going on, you know, to get that picture of what it's telling you. So I've done these shows time and time again, and what we're going to do for the summer is we're just going to try to replay. I don't know how to do it. Hopefully Annie or somebody else does. But each Saturday we will do a replay of a show. If it's possible to do a replay and then I do an intro or something like that, then I'll do it. But I haven't figured it out. New to me. Looking at other templates on how to, you know, best serve you guys. But that's kind of where we are with things. So, good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Raven. Marty, Raven, that's a new name. Hi. Leah, good morning. Kathy, good morning. They are talking about electric cars. Okay. Electric cars is not a bad thing, but in all honesty, you know, in the 1970s, they created a carburetor system that got gas mileage, and it was estimated up to 100 miles per gallon. I had an associate who literally had a guy go and he bought a big Monte Carlo, I think it was, and he got this car, and next thing you know, he's like filling up and he's getting like 55 miles per gallon. He's like, wow, never imagined this. He got a phone call 2 months after owning this car. We made a mistake. Your car was actually supposed to be one of the CEOs of, of GM or whoever it was. Who made Monte Carlos? I don't remember. Pontiac? I don't know. Anyway, GM, I still think it was. And he says, you got the wrong car. So what we're going to do is we're going to let you go and modify and pick whatever car you want. We're going to replace it, keep it under the same financing system, and just replace your car. He's like, well, I like this car. He's like, well, it was someone else's car. Let's replace it. So he went, got a brand new car, totally no change in financing. They just let it go. And then he got his new car. And next thing you know, he's getting 16 miles per gallon. Hmm. So, there was an article in Popular Mechanics that went back then that said that they had this carburetor system that was patented that would get 50 to 100 miles per gallon. And then it got bought and buried. And now we're going to electric cars. Whole new, great for the environment, right? You know, what do those batteries do when you have to dispose of them? But let's talk about that. Let's look at the environment because that environment in fact affects you. So yeah, carbon emissions are not the best. Al Gore swears that we have, global warming. That's because if you look at the Paris Accord, and now that China can buy credits to pollute all they want until 2029, and then they have to participate and buy these other credits that Al Gore seems to have a lot of interest in. But staying away from all that, your environment affects your body, period. Analytically, we measure it through RBTI. We look at your blood. We do electrodermal testing. What are you reacting to? Let's affect your environment. And so that's some of the things that I want to be able to do, these short shows, 5, 10, 15 minutes. We're going to create a library that's going to be part of the coalition. We're going to make it part of when people join the coalition. Hey, here's some teaching segments so you can understand where we're coming from, and little ones so you can apply it to your everyday lifestyle and how to do this stuff. So we're looking forward to it. Let's see what else we have here. Profit Bear. All right, I'm all signed up. Grateful for your work. You're welcome. Jackie, we totally understand. Praying you have a wonderful summer. Is there anything we can do for you? Oh, yeah. We still talk about how to get that coalition off the get it going, period. Our website guy ended up getting a real job, and now he can't do our website. So we're going to look for somebody who can take the website to the next level of the organizational structure that we need with testers and professionals and gardeners versus just lay people and farmers, and so we can have it all organizationally broken down. Right now, if you go to it, it's basically allowing people to join who are coming in and working with me, because we have to do this under a private as a private group. Period. Is this diagnosing if I tell you what I see in the blood? That person right there, that big black spot in the middle, was, right in the center, which is associated with hormonal or breast issues, and then you go through some of the other layers, and there's big areas, white areas in association with the breast. And I'm like, you need a thermography, let's go get a thermography and see what's going on and whatever else. And then I go back and look at their intake form, and lo and behold, they had breast implants years before. They had, surgery, hormonal related with their uterus. I'm like, okay, that might explain where we're seeing this. But now let's do further evaluation. Why is that, so much inflammation showing up in your blood? That's something we need to know. In the meantime, what do? Same thing we always do. Let's test you. Let's remove the foods and the bad foods from your diet. Let's give you the minerals that you need. Let's give you the basic vitamins that we can identify. This is not rocket science. This is not, oh, you've got hormonal issues. Let's take DIM or indole 3-carbamol or calcium D-glucarate or black cohosh and dioscorea and all of these herbs. We're not here to fix what's not working right. We're here to give you what you need and watch how your body responds and restores. And if it's not, we retest and say, you need this. It's analytical. That's the whole thing that Reams was trying to say, that if anybody understands these numbers, you have the height, weight, age of somebody, you understand their race and how, if you're dark skin versus light skin, and how it utilizes your sugars and your vitamin D and how that affects your numbers. If you're certain religions, say you're Muslim and you're actually not eating, bad foods. You're staying away from pork and shellfish or Jewish, and you're staying away from those things. Then that will affect the numbers. The fact that they eat at particular times, the fact that they fast particular times of the year, that will affect the numbers. So you incorporate those things into how you're thinking about this process. I saw a set of numbers yesterday. I think they were like 1.0, 5.8 over 6.4. The conductivity was probably around 5 or 6. The cell debris was up with a plus. And the nitrates were like 7 over 8 or 6 over 8 or something like that. Overall, sound bad? No. But what does that 1.0 brick say? Hey, I'm consuming energy. I need more. Low sugars. I'm consuming. I'm getting low oxygen. I'm using this energy. What does that 5.8 urine suggest? I'm trying to speed up to get rid of something. There's something going on in here, and which goes along with that ammonia nitrate being higher than the other one. There's a detoxification. The body can't process something. What about that plus? You're breaking down cells. There's a cellular destruction pattern, and the sugar to salt ratio is high because you're dumping stuff. You're in a detox. Are the numbers bad overall? No. But that's what they're telling you is going on in the body. It needs more energy. It needs to slow things down or get them out, and you need to process this stuff out. So, I want to help people understand, and that's where my next step is to work on some type of webinar teaching program through the coalition where we meet for an hour a week and we turn around and I give you guys, a platform and a study guide, and we're going to start teaching this stuff and making it, practical. Let's start with how to test and how to eat. Let's get to a point of teaching you what supplements to take. Let's get you to a point of understanding when you need to turn around and detox and support the detox. When sauna or foot bath or hyperbaric chambers or colonics or any of these therapies that we do would be beneficial. So that's my goal. Let me see what else we have down here. Leah, I like it. Summer is busy for me too with my garden. Good. My garden's in. Watered it this morning, 90 degree yesterday. Didn't like that. But getting it. I just bought a timer for setting to the water. So boom, going to pop on at 5 in the morning, pop off at 5:30 or something. So I'm going to experiment with just setting it up on an automatic. And, I think that's been my problem over the last few years with maintaining my garden. It's like, I didn't get it watered in time, and look at what happens, So this is really, I'm just taking some steps to, automate things a little bit easier for myself. Profit Bear, I still need to email you. Get them emailed. Yep. Jack, good morning. I'm a little late to this one. Well, Jack, if you go back and you look up in the chat, you're going to see where I've posted a link. And that link is if you want to learn more about my shows or more about what I'm teaching or get links to what I'm doing, you need to sign up. At YouTube, what I was mentioning is YouTube does not give me the ability to notify you, period. And unfortunately, what we have found is when we go live, people aren't getting notifications. Here's a question of you, 15 people, 20 people that are out there, whatever it might be. How many of you got notifications this morning? Are you getting notified? And if you are, did you choose on YouTube to make sure that you're notified first? Because what we find is that if people don't go over and there's some setting in there that if they don't turn around and they just, how can I gain 50 to 100 people per month, yet my numbers go down every week of how many people are watching this show? We don't understand that, and so we're trying to figure out how this is happening, and try to find a platform where we can tell you this stuff and we can notify you of this stuff, and it can lead to a better connection and the opportunity for us to be able to teach you more down the road. So I did always have. I got notified. So those of you who are getting notified, the question is, since you're always on my show, is that a recognized thing? Because even my office assistants have signed up and they don't get notified. I'm like, that's odd. Why aren't you notified that I'm doing a show? I'll be signing up to cause. No, I don't get notified and have the bell click. Okay, there you go. So there, I don't understand that. There's supposed to be these basic settings. We've done what we can with YouTube, and it's been frustrating. And so we're looking at other templates. There's MeWe, there's Rumble, there's another one I can't think of the name of, and we have to figure out how to go and reestablish, because it took a long time for Andy to set all this stuff up. And but we're going to be looking into that, as well as how to do a webinar. You sign up. I have PowerPoint presentations. I give you homework. Believe me, you're not going to go week to week in a class with me where you're not expected to do homework. And if you're wanting to learn this stuff and you're not willing to do homework and you just want to be a bystander and sit in, then I'm not going to give you a certificate that says that you completed my class. Because I want to see proficiency. There you go. Rhymes. Let's get back into Dr. Seuss rhyming. So that was one of my games when I was a kid. I could rhyme anything. Let's see what else we have here. Yep, and good gut signs up. Okay, so is there anything since today that you specifically want me to review? That's the question I'm going to put out there for you. Again, I'm just going to post periodically, and I can go down in that post thing and I'm just going to Control V and there's the link again to sign up for the shows and that type of stuff. But is there anything that you guys would like me to specifically address today? Would love webinars with homework. Good. Because it's the only way that I can think of how to get out there, because there's so many restrictions with COVID on setting up and having live, our retreats. We had no retreats last year. The coalition was, no activity, just none. It's you can't grow a nonprofit if you can't do anything. And so the goal is okay, where do I go from here? We've got the book done. We have all that other stuff done. We're putting a nice little package together, trying to figure out how to best approach. I've been reaching out to a couple publishers to, how to best approach and do this. The question is whether we get a publishing agent or, just submit things to publishers and go that way. And so new process for me. Do we put out an ebook on Amazon to where you could just download, versus an actual printed book? And so there's just a lot of questions to be answered, because what I honestly don't want to do is, it's easy to self-publish. I can go find a publisher, boom, here's your $30,000 or whatever, and you're going to give me so many copies of a book, and then I'm stuck with this stack of books that I don't have a market for it. How do I get it to the market? So my question is if any of you are involved with publishing, or you know how to, get it into the right in front of people, let me know. Hey doc, let's submit it to this person or whatever. I would like a quick crash course on how to test. I did get all the equipment, but I haven't started yet. I need a refresher. Okay, well, I mean, for testing, in reality, you can do the first 5 numbers in 1 minute if you have meters, right? Turn on your pH meter, turn on your refractometer, turn on your conductivity meter. They should be calibrated. They already should be calibrated. If you're with the electronic refractometer, you just squirt some distilled water in there and you hit 0 and you pour it out. So if you have your meters, what you do is you spit in the pH meter, write that number down, rinse it out, and then you put urine in all 3 meters: the refractometer, the pH meter, and the conductivity meter. And then you let them read it. And so the bricks is the refractometer reading, write that number down. The urine pH, put that over your saliva pH. The conductivity meter value, you have to turn around and multiply that by 1.43, and that's going to give you your C value. Reams showed that there was a mathematical, you can divide it by 0.7 or you multiply it by 1.43. The reading that comes out on the conductivity meter, assuming you have a conductivity meter that'll read high enough. That's why we suggest the Hariba EC22. Get the EC11, boom, it caps out at 20. And so if you're running a conductivity of 35, 50, whatever, it's just going to sit there and blink at 20. So there's a way to dilute the urine, and then retest it, and then take that calculation. I don't want people to deal with it. I want you to buy a meter that's going to do what you need to do. The Hariba EC22 or the DIST 4. The DIST 4 is just not as easy to clean and calibrate. And so it's a lot cheaper, but it's a little bit more of maintenance as far as how you're going to take care of it. So right there, you got your first 4 numbers. For your conduct or your cell debris, you take a pen light and you have your pee in a clear cup, and you put the pen light and let it go through the cup, through the urine. And if the pen light, if you can see the light make it all the way through the urine, then you know it's less than a 4M triple plus, period, But you look to see if there's anything floating in the urine. And if you see any particles, it's immediately a 4M. That means there's 4 million particles, because for every particle you see, there's at least 20,000 that you do not see. So you go through and you look at that urine and see if you see particles floating. Across the board, almost everybody has a 4M. Okay? But if you don't, instead of trying to count it, reams, some people did 3M, 1M, 0.04M. How do you identify a 0.04M as perfect chemistry? You put it under a microscope. How many of you have one? So what I say is if you can't find anything in that urine, and that beam of light is going all the way through that urine, and you see nothing, not a thing in there, then just write less than 4M. That can be an issue if all your other numbers are wacky and you're not dumping your dead cells. You got to get rid of them. You'll see your eyes turn red, the blood vessels in your scleras will get irritated and things like that. But there's your first 5 numbers. Refractometer, pH meter, conductivity meter, looking through the urine. 1 minute, and it's done. Assuming that you can spit, write the number down, and rinse that thing out in the first 30 seconds. Okay? So the hard one is not really hard. It's just time consuming, and you have to do it with care. is the nitrates. And so if you watch the videos, we talk about how to set up your nitrate testing area where you have the universal extract solution in the back left. You have the acid nitrate solution in the center. And then you have the ammonia testing solution on the back right. Always in the same place, so you don't mix them up. And you take one of those little vials and you stick it in one of those holes in the front, and you put 1 drop of urine in there. Okay, so little glass vial, 1 drop of urine. Put your pipette back in your urine, and then you go to the universal solution on the left, and you put 6 drops of universal solution with that 1 drop of urine in that little test tube. And then you take the glass pipettes or the glass droppers that have the little rubber toppies on them, and you stick it down in that 1 drop of urine and 6 drops of universal extract, and you squeeze it. And you squeeze it, and you squeeze it, and you count to about 120. I just sit there and count in my head to 120. So you've done at least more than a minute. Then you have your tray, your white wells, all those little wells on that marble tray. And it's marble because that acid solution will eat through everything else pretty much. And you put 1 drop of that urine and universal extract solution after you mix it in 2 of those little wells right beside each other. Then you go, and you should have gloves on, or you should have, make sure you have some baking soda handy in case you spill it. Wear gloves so you don't get that stuff on you. But then you go to that nitrate, that toxic middle one, and you get it out without making a drop get on anything except one of those wells that you have your urine and universal extract. You put 4 drops, and you typically go north, west, south, east. Okay, so you're typically putting 4 drops around it, and then go back, squeeze all of the acid back into the bottle so it's not resting in that dropper while you're storing it. Because if that acid is constantly in that dropper, that rubber on the top of the dropper is going to rot on you faster. So then you close it up, and then you go to the little ammonia bottle that has a white cap on it, and then you go to the other well and go 1 drop north, west, south, and east, and then you put it away. And then you set a timer for 5 minutes. You can actually set the timer for 5 minutes right after you do the nitrate solution, the blue one, because the timer will already be going. We have a timer that we just hit memory. It says 5 minutes and go. And then while that's counting down, you put your 4 drops of your ammonia solution in. You put that away. You look at your timer because your yellow, your ammonia nitrate solution, you read it in the first 30 to 60 seconds. And then so you look at that. You look at the chart. You write your number down. And then you still have about 3.5 minutes to go rinse all your meters out. Get your squeezy bottle of distilled water and go clean everything up. Clean up your meters, get them cleaned out, I usually wait until I get my nitrate solution before I dump and get rid of the urine universal extract solution, just in case, I didn't do it right or didn't read right or something like that, so I don't have to remix it. But then you clean up everything, and then you just wait for that timer to go off, and you read the blue, and you got your set of numbers. We actually do vitamin C test strips, and we do a urinary analysis with every single test. I know Jackie bought that UA machine. Jackie, that urinary analysis, you can make a comment of how easy that is. And if you start looking, when you start seeing those ammonia levels go up, you start seeing people dumping protein in their urine. And that means, and then you'll see the plus appear, and you'll know, like, wow, their kidneys are really stressed out, and they're really not digesting something. So they correlate with that. It's just another analytical process. Understanding a urinary analysis is simple. I'll teach it in one of my classes, but you can go right on the internet. Understand urinary analysis or UA test. and it'll explain glucose, bilirubin, urobilinogen, nitrates, blood, pH, uh, what else is specific gravity, ketones, and protein. And so it'll only tell you, hey, if this is in there, you might have a urinary tract infection. You might have a kidney irritation. You're not digesting your proteins or fats. So there's aspects of what more information it gives you, and I just learned to correlate it with what I see in the RBTI numbers. So that's the basics of how to do the testing. If you go to my Doc Misak YouTube channel and then you look at the whiteboard ads, there is a 5-minute video, whiteboard video, that shows you how to test. Basics. If you go back and look at my old shows, there's one called Testing and Testimony. Love that show because we spent, 8-10 minutes explaining how to do the test. Andy kind of held the computer or did video with it. And then we turned around and talked with somebody who, Philip, who just turns around and he records. He tests himself every day, keeps track of his urine bricks and his pHs. And he has not only changed his life, but he teaches me, hey, I notice a little bit of protein at night will bring up that saliva pH. I'm like, that's an incredible observation. And I tested it with other people, and guess what? That's what happens. So when people make these observations, these are things that we want to teach down the line. Hey, if you have a chronically low saliva pH, not only is that an issue with B12 utilization, but this is something you can do to have an influence on it. Anyway, I hope that explains it. Let me see what else. Doc, I am in an RV. I wish I was traveling in an RV. That's my favorite movie, by the way, one of them, with Robin Williams, RV. If you haven't seen that, people, you got to go back and watch that. And I'm having a hard time keeping my nitrate solution because of the humidity in the summer. What would be the best way? Good question. I would probably contact Pike Agri Labs and ask them. The material safety data sheet that when we send you a test kit, if you bought it from us, the material safety data sheet might have something in there about storage. I know when we ship the nitrate solution that it has to be in that diatomaceous earth kind of stuff to keep it dry, and in case it spills, it'll soak it up. But in reality, those bottles should be sealed. Only open them for that, 10 seconds that you need to get your drops of them out, and you can get a hard cap that'll go on that nitrate solution. The problem is every time you need to take a drop of that solution out of there with a dropper, is that the residue in that dropper. If that drop gets on your counter, it'll eat right through it. That drop gets on somebody, it'll eat right through their skin until it gets to bone. So that it's just, I just try to minimize handling, and like when you buy a test kit, they actually send you a 2-ounce bottle labeled nitrate, but then they send you the nitrates in a 1-ounce bottle. And they're just like, you can pour it into that 2-ounce bottle because it'll fit in your foam a little bit better. I don't bother. I don't even encourage people to do that. Just be careful on how you're getting that 1-ounce bottle and how you're handling it is a better way to me than ever taking the chance of pouring it from one bottle to the other. You spill that crap, particularly on your fingers or anything, people, you're in trouble. So I just don't mess with it. Let's see. Good morning, everyone. Just Lee. Is the Tornado front-wheel drive? Heck yeah. First front-wheel drive ever. Electric. It's got an electric antenna. You push the button, the antenna goes up. It's got a rolling speedometer on it that tells you how fast. Power windows. First car with power windows. That car was the car of the year in 1966. Motor Trend or whoever it was. All kinds of write-ups, 425 engine in it. My
it's like a luxury. It was considered a sports car, but a luxury sports car because the thing is huge, 7 foot wide front. I mean, it's huge. But yes, totally cool car. Just slowly gonna just keep fixing and restoring. Right now, my son and I, because it was stored in the garage for 30 years, are buffing the paint out and just did the hood. And it took like, just to do the hood, it took an hour plus, to do it right. And my son's like, we're gonna do this, right? I'm like, yeah, and I'm showing him how to do it, it's just, it's a connection with the boy, and it's just fun and a lot of good old memories. But it's an awesome car, a lot of good memories in that car for me. Let's see. I may have some beneficial ideas regarding your channel. Look me up on Facebook Messenger and let's talk if you like. Okay, just go. I mean, text me on Facebook Messenger or email me, please. Kenyon, please just send me something, because I typically don't get back to these chats and go back and finding things. So if you can go and I think it's my Facebook Messenger is Daryl Misak. I think it's just under my personal that's in there. You can go through Pittsburgh Alternative Health, and we have a Facebook page there, or you can email us. If you just go and email through my office or through Doc Misak. Those things, if they're specific for me and something like that, they do get to me eventually. Thank you. Haven't used the urinary analysis machine yet. It's a goal for this summer. It's simple. You dip your urine, you put the stick in. All you have to do is tell the machine to that it's a 10 SG. You got to pick the right strip for the machine on the programming board, and then all you do is hit start. The thing opens up. You dip it in. You hit start, and then it starts counting from 64 seconds down, and it'll read it out for you. It's really easy. That's the part I want to learn, how to know what you're lacking by reading the numbers, and needing B12 or something else. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other, that's where you're getting into clinician aspects, and the basics of what to take, which calciums. If you go and when you get the equipment from me, if you bought my testing equipment and we send you the BC and DE diet, you're going to see the calcium forms that raise pH, calcium forms that lower pH, neutral calcium forms. If you go to Daily Manufacturing's website and you learn about, Cal2 or coral calcium or calcium orotate or calcium gluconate, or, you can go and learn which one's Mincol, calcium phosphate. And there's a generalization of how they support, but there's definitely a technique to how to do it. And I do not agree. I'm just going to flat out tell you, I do not agree with Dr. Badeau, Dr. Manthe, the original teachers of RBTI. I do not agree with the amount of calcium that they were recommending. And Dr. Badeau's calcium book, and he's loading people up with 4,000 or 5,000 milligrams a day. Short term, it's fine, it's safe, but you don't just push numbers with taking more pills. Bottom line, you have to look at those numbers to understand how it connects with diet. And that's where I'm focusing in. And my next goal is to help you understand which foods have the trace minerals that you need. So you're getting the foods in the particular category, how you're eating them in a ratio wise to use food to move your chemistry. But you have to take some supplements. You just do. You need that calcium source with every meal, and you don't need two Mincols, 2 calcium gluconates, 2 Cal2s, and taking 18 calcium pills a day, with every meal. It's just, you don't need it. You need to learn what foods, but you do need some source of calcium. I usually give at least 1 Mincol with every meal, and depending on people who need more calcium, based upon how the numbers are not moving or moving, just not as fast as you need them to, then we can utilize a little bit more and measure whether you're using it. So I just teach a purist approach that goes back that when I was learning this stuff and all these calciums and stuff, and you're watching people get kidney stones, I'm like, that is not cool. You turn around and I saw 3 people get kidney stones working with another practitioner who was in the area that passed away that also was coming to me. 3 of them in like a 1 or 2 year time that got kidney stones, and I'm like, it's all the calcium. It's has not. You need magnesium to prevent them as well, and and uh, and you don't just keep pushing numbers and say take more. I completely disagree with that. And so and unfortunately, to what I saw, and in both the RBTI forums and RBTI teachings from other practitioners that were out there, because I've read Badeau's material, I've read Olson's material, I've read Manthey's material, anything that I could get on Paul Braddock, I've read his material, Healthology, I've read that material, and there's some great information. June Wild material. I've gone through all this stuff, people, and the notion is to, if where the numbers are, to take this, to take this, to take this. You gotta step back and say why, and what am I eating? And Betty and her sister Laverne, when I went to a retreat with them and their brother Eugene, and I'm sitting there listening to this stuff, and I'm like, well, what supplements did your dad do? I'm a pharmacist. What did he give them at the retreats? And you're like, he didn't give supplements at the retreat. He sent them home on supplements after he saw what their numbers were doing. But while they were at the retreat, he just said, feed them this. Wow, are you kidding me? And they got better by just him saying, feed them? Yep. So where should our focus be? Learn to understand how these numbers influence what you should be eating. It's not perfect. It's not easy. It's a pain in the butt to learn your patterns. But once you do, the rewards are lifelong. I eat that, I feel like crap. And now I know it. So I'm not going to, it's a choice. And that's the one thing God gave us all. Where am I? I haven't used an area. Let's see. That's the part I want to learn. Good morning, Doc. Good morning, Marcia. I've been having seizures, and I don't want to get on any of that so-called medicine. I'm hoping the RBTI, easy. You have got to live with a refractometer. You have to check your pee every single time you pee, and you have to learn your sugar patterns, and you got to learn to control them, period. But also, you need to run full sets of numbers, because you're typically going to see a potassium issue when you are having seizures. And so and you got to know whether you need to take supplemental potassium. I have some people out there who take supplemental potassium 12, 15 a day, because their body's just so stressed and using it up. And then I'm just like, when you start seeing these heart flutters or palpitations, that doesn't mean stop the potassium. That means reduce the potassium and check your numbers. Because you can load people with potassium, and it can take months to get it to come back. Months. And then all of a sudden, boom, your nitrates shoot up. They're like, my heart's racing. I'm nervous as heck. What do I do? You got to go down. You got to reduce that potassium. Your body finally figured out how to use it. Or you got your stress levels under control. So we make those associations on how to deal with it in that regard. But you got it. If you've got seizures, bottom line, go back and read Reams's book. He tells stories of seizures in there, of controlling sugars and learning what sugar you need or which one you need to stay away from. Good morning. Looking forward to my appointment with you next week. All right. Go car go. I'm looking forward to it too. You'll have to let me know who you are as far as your go car go. I still love Go Dog Go. I'd read it to kids all day long. You like my hat? Hey Doc. My cheap food is dried mangoes with no additives, good or bad. Mangoes are awesome, loaded with at least 5 or 6 prominent calciums. Mangoes are a superfood as long as you're not allergic to them. I have people with type O or type A blood. Mangoes, papaya, get it away from them. Rare. Doesn't mean because your blood type says don't eat it and stay away from it. Because in reality, I've probably had 10 or 15 people react to mangoes in 20 years. It's not common. But mango, superfood, go for it. That Italian ice stuff, that crappy sugary field, stuff. In Pittsburgh called Rita's Ice, very popular in the area. All it is sugar water with artificial flavoring. Mango's my favorite. So yeah, I do break down and have that stuff, people. That sweet tooth goes back a long way for me, and controlling my sugars and getting myself out of it. I've done that. I had ice cream the other night, and then I went home and I'm pounding chicken just to kind of make sure that I don't crash out on it. How do you play the numbers, right? Not necessarily the pattern I want you to learn, but there is a practical side to RBTI and understanding like, well, I did that. I don't want to feel that way, so I'm going to do this. That's what I do sometimes. Let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. Amen. I agree. So what I'm going to do is kind of get ready to say goodbye for the summer, people. And I am going to one time again, I am going to post. There is the link. So those of you who want to know what's going on with Dr. Misak, and when I'm putting on something and when I'm going to do a show or what I'm going to talk about, you need to sign up. You need to get that link right there. You need to give me your name, your address, your name and your email address. And if I got something going on, you're going to be on a blind copy email blast. So nobody sees your email address. Don't you love it when you have these companies that send you an email blast and it's going to like 500 naturopathic doctors, and then they just list them all and all their emails are there like, oh, I've got a place to advertise now. I'll just take all those emails and spam these people. I hate if my email gets used that way. So whenever we do it, we blind copy. No one's going to see your email. You will get notified if I'm going to be doing something. And I gave you an idea of what we're going to be doing, and I'm going to try to focus in on and working on things that just let's take it to the next level, people. So message you and Annie on Facebook Messenger. Thank you. Tell us about the blood behind you. Well, you see all that white, when blood's healthy, you see a nice, solid, red, consistent color with black fiber lines like that, those little black lines, but it's all interconnected. And the more white there is, the more inflammation there is. That person, inflamed. The fact that little black big hole right there, if you go and you scroll on the microscope, you'll see that it's right in the center. And when you see one right in the center, it's suggestive that there's a hormonal issue. Usually with women, it's breasts or pelvis. With guys, it's usually the prostate. And so this person, they're inflamed, quite inflamed. And when you look at their dry blood, and that lack of interconnectedness and stuff is suggestive that they're not digesting their proteins and all of that type of stuff. And if I go through their other layers, you'll see that there are signs of adrenal stress and poor vitamin C utilization and back pain. I love it when you can see this sign that people have you probably have mid to upper back pain. They're like, yeah, I do. Yeah. Oh, this person I think had one spot on the lower part that was red and kind of inflamed, suggestive that they had a knee or ankle foot injury. And I'm like, this looks like you had a foot injury. They're like, yeah, I did. I said, it looks like the left foot. He's like, it was. It's just when the blood dries, the blood is your life. It carries every frequency. Everything is frequency and vibration. And so each frequency apparently dries with a particular pattern. And that pattern was observed. That when you see this, you see lymphatic congestion. When you see this, you see people who aren't absorbing their minerals. When you see that, you see people who have allergies and inflammation. When you see that black hole, You see somebody who's had something going on hormonally. So there's a lot to learn from blood. It's just an observational aspect, but we don't claim it to be diagnostic. When you see black pits, it's consistent with parasites. It can be also B12 folic acid utilization, so I correlate it with what I see in the live blood. So blood is your life. And I don't know how many of you heard of Edgar Casey, guy go into trances and believed to have talked to angels, and he'd come out of a trance and they would write down what he was saying during the trance, because he would have, hey, castor oil packs or wet cell therapy, or do this in your diet, and he'd tell people to do these weird things, and they get cured from whatever they were dealing with. And so one of Edgar Casey's trances, he's like, in the future, a doctor will be able to take one drop of blood and tell you any ailment or whatever's going on with somebody. And so right now, and with what live blood microscopy and dry blood microscopy, there's a practitioner out of Italy who only uses dry blood, and he correlates it with basically what you would consider as functional medicine. And he'll say, hey, you got a hormonal issue, I'm going to give you DIM or whatever it is. And this guy is getting recognized all over the world because he's curing cancers and stuff like that. People, I have seen cancers go away. I've seen people who were told that they're going to die not. But do I cure cancer? Hell no. I don't cure anything. Do I diagnose you with what's going on? Hell no. I analyze you and say, hey, this is associated with this deficiency. Let's do that. Do I treat people? No. I just support them where they show need of it based upon an analysis. There's no such thing as diagnosing, treating, curing, or preventing unless you're a medical doctor. How are they doing with that? How is your medical doctor done for you with diagnosing? Hey, this is what I think you have. Treating. Hey, you should take this drug because you have these symptoms for that disease that I tell you have. Curing. Oh, antibiotics. That's right. I've taken antibiotics. You get Lyme disease, I damn well recommend you get started on antibiotics. So what do you cure? Why were you susceptible in the first place to get why you needed the antibiotic? The diagnosis, treatment, cure, prevention. Wow. How do you not tell people what to prevent? So if I'm telling you a 5-phase approach, clean up your environment, get tested to know what you're reacting to analytically, support where your body needs it, watch your body detox, self-awareness, is that prevention? Hopefully not by their diagnosis. Because prevention by their diagnosis is what drug? Let's take some statins. Let's take some metformin. Let's control your sugars and your cholesterol so we prevent you from having a stroke down the road. Weird system, people. I believe in health. I believe in analytics of understanding. It's just, I don't believe in a disease maintenance and waiting for that disease to go deeper in the body. I believe that the body restores itself because you're made in the image of God, but everything about this world pulls that ability to heal away. So you got to look at the quality of food. You got to look at the quality of even this earth resonates at 7.83 hertz, called Schumann resonance. And at that frequency, your brain, which controls through your central nervous system everything else, functions optimally. Go to a beach without any electromagnetic chaos where nobody's around and meditate and heal. Get those negative ions from that beach. Get those minerals from that salt air. Be in Schumann resonance and find your peace. There are ways to heal, but that's all I'm trying to help you do is identify them. Thanks again, people. Last but not least, I don't know what we're saying here, but once again, I'm going to turn around and say, oh, I just disappeared to live chat. I don't know what the heck I did, but there it is. One more time, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to give you guys, if you want to learn more, sign up and we will know that you're out there. Anybody who's checking these videos out and wants to learn more and know when I'm doing something, sign up. So last but not least, is there anything else? You'll miss us. Thank you. I'll miss you guys. You are awesome for giving us poor people this education. You know what? We're all poor in spirit, right? Hopefully not. Find your joys. Joy of the Lord. Look up RBTI on Facebook. There are groups on there. We'll miss you. Looking forward to the book. Yes, I am too, actually. Hope to see you all on the group. I might post it on Betty's group sometime. We'll send you a direct message about the blood microscopy training I took. Please do. Always looking for more. And my doc has failed. Well, not from their standard. From what they set as their standard, probably did fine. But let's raise the bar. People, thank you so much. I'm going to say goodbye for the summer. I look forward to getting back to you guys. God bless you all. Enjoy this weather. Find your peace. Find happiness.